I mean, that's a problem. I mean, and I think you do a great job of it. Like the other one I saw you posted recently was like, someone asked you, should I use the school Wi-Fi?
Yeah. That one was like a couple of days ago, I think I posted that.
I was warned not to connect my cell phone to the Wi-Fi at my school.
Yeah, this is pretty much true. Whenever you go to a website, it does a DNS lookup, and that DNS lookup is not encrypted. So they can see the domain for the website you're on. So if you go to google.com, they can see google.com. But if the website is encrypted, they can't see what page you're on that website or what you're doing. Now, when it comes to emails, things are a little bit more complicated. It depends on if your client is encrypting messages or not. Some do, some don't. If it isn't, then any emails you send and receive while on the network, they could theoretically read. They might not have the software to actually intercept and log those, but it is possible.
I think what's really cool about that is you are taking technical terms and you're bringing it down to a non-technical user's understanding, yeah?
Yeah, so that's always been the primary purpose of even my blog when I was doing malware analysis. It was geared towards something that someone who maybe doesn't work in the industry could read and understand. Like I did have some very technical blogs which were like going through my process, but a lot of it was like, here's how this malware feature works in terms that like you could just go and find like one of your parents and just be like, hey, would you want to learn about malware? And then I carried that on with TikTok, and it was like, let's take this like complex cybersecurity concept and try and boil it down into a way that like people can take something away from it.
When I spoke to She Networks, or not She Networks, depending on if you're on Twitter or TikTok, I asked her the question, how on earth do you take a technical concept and boil it down into like 60 seconds? So let me ask you the same thing, because I'm more on YouTube than TikTok, and I find it easy to just like explain in like 15 minutes or 10 minutes a concept, but like the two of you are explaining it in like 60 seconds. How on earth do you do that?
So I was always the kid in school who would I would write the essays, and it would be like, I would just ramble for like 1,000 pages of prelogue, because I couldn't write long things. So I would just add words for no reason. And I was always the guy trying to pad his essay with like meaningless words to make it reach the minimum character limit. So when there was a platform that's, hey, you can say things in short form, that was already my area. Like my whole life, I had been someone who would just like convey a concept in like a couple of minutes. And it was like just great to finally have a platform that allowed me to do that. It's why I struggle so much with YouTube. I find it very hard to drag like these things out into like 10-20 minute long videos.
Yeah, huge respect for both of you, because I've watched quite a few of your videos, and you are showing like demos really quickly. And one of the ones I really liked is like you were showing like only in I think I didn't see, I mean, it's difficult to see how long it was, but it was like 60 seconds or so. You were showing like how do you use malware within like a Microsoft Word document, and you just had this like very basic VB script. So tell us about that. I mean, I find that on YouTube, I get a lot of flack about like, this is stupid. You're showing like a basic hack, and guys want to like have a lot of these hardcore hacks. But have you found that you've had a lot of, I mean, okay, forgetting the Airbnb, but have you found that you get a lot of good response on these types of like techie videos, which is like showing a bit of code and explaining how it works?
Yeah, so I actually struggled with that video because that was back when TikTok had like a hard limit of a minute. And that one was one that should have maybe been 2 minutes. And I was struggling to condense that one down. I feel like my TikTok audience is very different from, say, my Twitter audience. My Twitter audience is somewhat mixed now, but it used to be purely like very technical people. And if I were to just do a very, very simple video like basic VB script macros, they would probably roast me. But then on TikTok, I have a more general public audience. So this is stuff they haven't heard of, and being able to show it in its most simplistic format is the easiest to understand. Because like real macros, we could spend 3 hours going through every feature of that. But there's just simple, snappy, like here is the most raw, purest form of it. And you can see it working is a lot easier when it comes to teaching to like a wider audience.